The Fire Within by Chris DeLacy. We are now on page 185, Dragonpox. The following morning, Liz had come to shake David awake. "Hey, sleepyhead, rise and shine. I've been tapping on your door for the past 10 minutes. Aren't you going to college today?" David opened a blurry eye. He was lying on his bed in his bathrobe, Bonington camped out on his chest. "What time is it?" "8. Why aren't you in bed?" "Couldn't sleep," the tenant muttered, pushing the cat aside. He sat up and shivered. Dreamt about, well, perhaps he wouldn't say what he dreamt about. Liz swept to the window and opened the curtains. "Sorry if you felt ignored last night. I had to spend time with Lucy and Gawain. I'll make you some breakfast when I finish loading the dishwasher." She picked a coffee-stained t-shirt off the floor, frowned, and draped it over her arm. "Were you working late?" She tapped the computer. Multicolored fish were darting back and forth across the screen. David yawned and ruffled his hair, showering Bonington with early morning dandruff. "I wrote another chapter of the Snigger story. Took ages. Like typing through molasses." "Well, at least your fan club will be happy," said Liz, plucking a pair of boxer shorts off Winston's head. "When I went in to see Lucy this morning, she was already deep into chapter 6. "Mom!" A plaintive cry floated down the stairs. "Talk of the little dragon." Liz marched across the room and yanked the door wide. "What?" "Can I come down now, please?" "No, go back to bed." A foot stamped hard across the landing. "What's the matter?" asked David. Liz sniffed at the crumpled sweater and immediately added that to her haul. "Struck down by the miseries. Sore throat, prickly skin, nothing to worry about. Common complaint in the Pennycettle household. She's just upset about breaking Gawain. She'll be fine in a couple of days." David nodded. Should he ask about Gawain? Maybe, maybe not. "I'll go up and see her after breakfast." "Actually, I'd rather you didn't." "It's okay," said David. "I've had every childhood illness there is, and she must be dying to know about Conquer." "She is, but I want her to rest. You can see her tonight when you come home from college. So Conquer's still with us?" David tightened the belt of his bathrobe and nodded. "He escaped with Snigger in Henry's garden. I reset the trap last night. You weren't around to ask. I hope you don't mind." Liz threw him a sideways look. A sock fell off the bundle of laundry. Bonington sniffed at it and nearly keeled over. "Have you thought about what you're going to do? By some chance you managed to catch Conquer?" "Dunno. Take him to a vet, I suppose." "What about the envelope on the hall shelf? Couldn't those wildlife people help?" David thought about the picture of Frankie the fox. Take Conquer to a hospital? Maybe, he shrugged. "You could always talk to them when they call for the envelope." Gotta catch him first. Maybe they could give you some useful advice." "The trap works," said David, sounding slightly irked. "We just have to lure Conquer into it, that's all. I have Snigger on the case." Liz raised an eyebrow. "Where one squirrel goes, another one follows, probably." "You'd better go and look," said Liz. David checked the trap immediately after breakfast. A snail had slithered over one of the acorns, and the box was covered with fallen leaves, but there was no sign whatsoever of squirrel activity. To make matters worse, it was raining again. Disappointed, he headed back to the house, whereupon the bathroom window opened. "David! Psst! Up here!" David halted on the patio and raised his eyes. "Lucy, go to bed. You're supposed to be ill." "It's only dragon pox," she said, sounding hoarse. She stuck out her tongue and made a rasping "Hurruck." "Didn't Mom tell you?" "Not exactly," David muttered, blowing a raindrop off his nose. Dragonpox. Another little penny kettle joke, no doubt. What happened to Conker? He ran away with Snigger. Look, I've got to... Shush! Lucy raised a hand for silence. Phone! Come up and tell me while Mom's gabbling. Lucy, I have to go to college. Besides, your mom said I wasn't allowed. She won't know, Lucy pleaded. The man from Scrubbly Market calls today to tell Mom how many dragons he wants. They gab for ages. Please, I'm bored. Just 5 minutes. David sighed and looked at his watch. All right, 5 minutes. Great, croaked Lucy, and banged the window shut. She met him on the landing in her teddy bear pajamas and beckoned him eagerly into her room. Come on, tell me what happened to Conker. David plunked himself on the end of the bed and quickly related all the events in Mr. Bacon's garden. Lucy laughed out loud at the mower incident, but her face paled sharply at the mention of Caraticus. That crow, she gasped. That horrible crow? David nodded. They're frightened of him. I think Caraticus might have attacked Conker once, and that's how his eye got hurt. It's just a wild guess, but I think a squirrel might have taken some eggs from his nest. Lucy's gaze narrowed. They wouldn't do that. They might, Lucy, if they were desperate for food. No acorns, remember, when the oak tree was chopped down. But Conker's a nice squirrel. I know, said David in a comforting tone. In the story, you never find out who raided the nest. Conker is just the unfortunate squirrel that Caraticus takes his revenge on. He reached into his coat and brought out several sheets of manuscript. You can read it when I go to college. It's not true, remember, just speculation. Lucy took the papers and skimmed them excitedly. You read it, she said, handing them back. Lucy, I don't have time. Oh, please. Gruffin and Gwendolyn want to hear. David's gaze drifted to the far bedside table, in the space where Gawain normally sat. Another dragon was perched beside Gwendolyn. It was smaller than a female dragon, and its wings were up as it poised to fly. With the curtains drawn and the table lamp on, Gruffin's features were lost in shadow, but David thought he remembered the name. Gruffin. Haven't heard of him. He normally sits by the door in the den. Door, thought David, remembering keyholes and blazing fires. He doesn't have violet eyes, does he? Lucy's gaze shifted sideways. They're green, she whispered. Read the story. David glanced at his watch. Whatever happened now, he'd be late for his lecture. All right, I'll read you the part where Conker tells Snigger what happened to his eye. This is just after they've escaped from the mower, and they're sheltering themselves in their hiding place. This is what Conker says. I was on my way home to my... dray in the roof when Caraticus saw me coming. He was on me before I knew it, pecking at my head with his thick, blunt beak. He was flapping his wings and clawing like crazy, screaming that I was a thief and a killer. He dug his sharp claws into my back. I twisted and bit his foot. I got one of his toes, I think. Toes? Said Snigger. I bit it off, gulped Conker. Ugh, said Lucy. David turned a page. After I bit him, he squawked and flew away. I scrambled down the branch as fast as I could. But my eye was blurry and I couldn't see where I was going. I heard Karaticus coming again. He swooped and I lost my balance. I fell through lots of leaves and branches, and the next thing I knew, everything went dark. When I woke up, I was on the ground. I couldn't see anything out of my bad eye. I tried to climb the sycamore tree, but I got dizzy and kept falling. I knew then that I'd never see my Dre again. That's terrible, Lucy shouted. I hate that Karaticus. Calm down, said Davy, holding her wrist. It's just a story. You'll make your own throat sore. It's not just a story, Lucy insisted. Where's he hiding? Hiding, said David, releasing his grip. He flexed his fingers. His hands felt prickly. You said Conker had a hiding place. Where? David rubbed his brow. Now that felt prickly. They're hiding in the watering can in a pile of junk near Mr. Bacon's shed. Go and look, said Lucy. You've got to look now. But David was busy looking at his hands. What's this, he said. Jumping to his feet, his skin looked scaly and green. Oh, no, he squeaked. I've got dragon pox. Now we're on page 195, writer's block.